Hello everyone. In our previous exploration of the Bhagavad Gita, we discovered that Jivatma, which is essentially you, is omnipresent, indestructible and eternal, and words like self, soul, Atma, embodied soul, Jivatma, consciousness, observer, these are just different names for the self that observes through bodies. Now, here's the twist in the tale. In verse 22, it talks about this Jivatma, the you, moving from one body to another. Wait, what? If you're everywhere and unmovable, how can you travel between bodies? Let's dive in and unravel the mystery of rebirth together. Ready for a roller coaster ride through the Bhagavad Gita? Buckle up. You see, verse 22 is often misconstrued as an illustration of rebirth, suggesting that when the body dies, the embodied soul somehow transfers to a newborn body, creating the idea that you are distinct from others. However, a careful examination reveals a different perspective. If the embodied soul or observer is omnipresent and immovable, how does it embark on a journey from one body to another? Let's delve into the profound meaning of rebirth as illuminated in the Bhagavad Gita. As a person wearing multiple clothes simultaneously, like shirts, pants, and more. Similarly, the verse suggests that the observer, the self, occupies multiple bodies concurrently. Pay close attention to the words used. Embodied soul is singular, while bodies is plural. This implies that a single observer is not confined to one body at a time, but is intricately connected with various bodies simultaneously. Just as changing clothes doesn't involve physically moving from one garment to another, the soul doesn't traverse from one body to another. Rather, it experiences life through different physical forms. The choice of language in the Bhagavad Gita is intentional and significant. If Sri Krishna intended to convey the common understanding of rebirth, Sri Krishna could have explicitly used phrases like, "The embodied soul moves from one body to another." Instead, he used the singular term embodied soul and the plural bodies, emphasizing the idea that a single observer, the embodied soul, is connected with multiple bodies simultaneously. This aligns with the concept of omnipresence we explored in the previous video. Consider the analogy of a universal observer, omnipresent. It's akin to light that permeates everywhere. When an old body ceases to exist, it doesn't imply the death of the observer. Rather, the same observer can be detected in other bodies and in new bodies upon their birth. In verse 22, in Hindi and Sanskrit, they employ the word prapt, which translates to get. This choice of terminology suggests that when a body ceases to exist, the observer, or the self, continues its observation in another body. Moreover, the observer gets to witness experiences in new bodies upon their birth. This is similar to how light persists even when objects are removed. The reflection occurs because of the objects, but the light remains regardless. When we remove an object from the path of light, light disappears because it doesn't reflect anymore. Does that mean the light has ceased to exist? And conversely, when we introduce a new object, does it mean the light is born because of that object, or does the light travel from the old object to the new one? Or there is no difference in light. The same light is everywhere. Same with our true self, which is everywhere, but we just perceive ourself in bodies. Because for ourself, a body is important to experience. But without a body, we are still there just as a light is still there without an object. Same with space. After a body dies, does the space also die in the body? No. Space is still there in other bodies, and when new bodies are born, they also get the same space, because space is everywhere. Revisit the verse, keeping in mind the omnipresence of consciousness or the self. All bodies die in consciousness and are born in consciousness. Consciousness persists both with and without a body, because it's omnipresent, eternal, immovable, constant, and everlasting, as emphasized in verse 24. When exploring scriptures, it's crucial to recognize the distinction between your real self and the mind. If you interpret teachings from the perspective of the mind when the scripture is addressing the self, Atma, confusion and contradictions may arise. Similarly, interpreting self-oriented teachings as mind-related can lead to misunderstandings. The mind is the doer, managing and controlling life, while your true self is the observer, perceiving through the five senses and observing mental activities like thoughts, dreams, and imagination. To navigate scriptures accurately, grasp the difference between the observer, Atma, and the doer, mind, as explained in depth in my Law of Automation playlist. This foundational understanding will enable you to unravel the profound meanings within scriptures. Once you grasp this understanding, you can decipher the authentic meaning of any scripture without encountering contradictions or confusion. In Chapter 3, Verse 27, Sri Krishna emphasizes the concept that you are not the doer and everything unfolds according to the laws of nature. This aligns with what we have practically observed in the Law of Automation series. Now, considering this understanding, the traditional concept of karma, often associated with individual actions, may need re-evaluation. If every action is governed by the laws of nature and not by individual entities, the perspective on karma shifts. In the upcoming video, we will delve into the depths of this concept, unraveling the true meaning of karma in the context of being not the doer and actions unfolding naturally. Stay tuned for a comprehensive exploration in the next video.